can't think of a seminal piece of legislation that has had more impact on the people of our state than what y'all did.
Billions of dollars of savings
big.
to the people of the state of Texas.
Compliments to the craft and the vision of Steve Wollins and David Sibley and Pat Wood.
We had gone through a lot of deregulation, and we saw trucking deregulated, we saw banks deregulated, we saw the phones deregulated, we saw the airlines deregulated, and now we were coming to electricity.
In 1995, George W. Bush interviewed me with his boots on his table. He said, Pat, we can promise better prices and we'll most likely get better technological innovation. But the bigger issue is that they, the utilities, care more about what we, pointing to the House and the Senate himself, think than what the customers think. And that's wrong, and you're going to change it.
And there are all these new emerging technologies, renewable energy and energy efficiency, that were trying to come into the market, but the utilities were blocking the evolution of the electric utility industry.
Senate Bill 7 restructured the electric market in Texas.
People were starting to like the idea of shopping around for an electric provider, much like they did for a telecommunications provider. It was sort of a perfect storm for significant economic and social change, and that's what SB 7 became.
As an economist, I would like to have all privately owned firms competing with as much competition as possible.
Whereas if you have a market that is heavily regulated, consumer choice is heavily limited. And all of that ultimately comes back to the bottom line, and that's actually what it means for household budgets.
So a lot of money was put in to educate people how to go about teaching them to switch on their own and to move from one competitive provider to another competitive provider that would give them what they wanted.
They have the choice to choose.
Yep.
I always had in my heart that this was going to work
This was really going to become a national model.
and help inform consumers, because if we didn't have an education process, I think people would have been, no pun intended, but in the dark.
The big surprising success was the enormous renewable energy boom. While I initially opposed competition because I wasn't really sure it was going to reduce costs, I was wrong. It's worked. Not only have we attained significant emission reductions, but we've also seen significant reduction in air pollution.
Texas, in general, it's been viewed as pretty successful. And in a lot of ways a model for other regions to consider when looking at moving forward with liberalization efforts.
I've been around the world because other countries have wanted to know how we've done this. We just put the Texas spirit behind it, so we were going to make it happen.